Right then, this is a walk around video, and this is for a Honda CR-V 2.2 Black Edition diesel, 2015 registered car. Looks absolutely stunning. It's a bit windy today, so I hope you can hear me. This car's had just one private owner from new. It's kept the car very nicely. Front of the car really clean, lights and lenses clear, intact, no cracks or condensation. Bumper very clean. Likewise, the bonnet, given the fact the car's done 78,000 miles, is in remarkable condition because it's only got the odd very minor stone chip. Near side, dent free, you can't see any indentations at all. Near side front alloy, really good condition, just a tiny bit on the right on the outside edge, but nothing that merits a mention really. And then panel work, very clean, just the odd very light brush mark as you'd expect. Near side rear alloy, absolutely spot on. Probably my favourite angle for these with the Black Edition kits. And the back just looks fantastic. It's all very subtle, but works really nicely aesthetically anyway. Sorry, slightly out of breath today, just been rushing around. Around the back of the car again, very clean and tidy. Offside of the vehicle again, I can't see any indentations at all. Offside rear alloy, absolutely fantastic. And the remaining panel work is exceptionally good. And given the fact the car's now 5 years old and it's covered 78,000 miles and it's black, it happens to be in absolutely lovely condition. Let's come into the back of the car now. And this is the Achilles heel for all estate cars because this is where they get bashed about. Yeah, this one has been given a very light use. It's been kept so nicely, plastics, carpeted areas, all lovely. Coming to the back of the car now, big wide opening rear doors, unbelievable amount of legroom. They are incredible, and that's with the front seat set for me, and I'm over 6 foot tall. Rear seats again, because this is where the kids sit, generally speaking, but this one looks as though it's been kept free of children in the back. So coming into the passenger side front, sorry the wind's picking up, but again videos don't do justice really to the sort of seats on these. It makes them rather odd, but they're absolutely lovely in terms of their condition. Coming to the front now, again driver's door card, all very nice and tidy, and driver's seat again in really good condition. So inside the car now, engine's running for this section, so dashboard can be seen illuminated as always, but the dashboard looks in perfect condition. Just to quickly put the car into reverse there for you. You get that lovely clear gridded parking camera, all working exactly as it should. Likewise, sat nav functioning perfectly. But it's been kept absolutely beautifully. Going across to the dashboard, or the binnacle rather, 78,818 miles, and there are no warning lights on the dashboard at all whilst the engine's running. But it really is in absolutely fantastic condition in here. Just to quickly show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut keys are both here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test, and this is for a Honda CR-V, and it's a 2.2 diesel, and it's the Black Edition model. This particular car is registered SW15CPK, and mileage at the start of the road test is 78,812 miles. The reason for doing the videos, as I say in all of them, very simply, is we want people who are looking at our cars online to actually see those cars in operation. We know to our cost how frustrating it can be to go and see a car which, whilst it can look fine in the photographs and the description given, when you road test it, you find out it's got a fundamental issue which you would rather know about before setting off. So that is why we do it. Also done on these very quiet country roads close to our premises, and hopefully then that will be representative of what you'll feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. I'm doing this one a little bit early in the morning, so a little bit sort of low and light, so I do apologise, but I've got an awful lot to fit in. So coming to the car itself, lovely ownership on the vehicle. Car starts instantly and the engine settles to completely smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. I'll do the temperature gauge a little bit later in the video because I like to do these videos from cold, hence why I've got a slightly misty window at the moment because it's all very chilly this morning. But then that's when you tend to sort of find that engines or anything else sort of shows up any issues, so that's why it's done from cold. The engines are absolutely brilliant units. It's kind of, in my eyes, almost a perfect diesel because it gives you what a good diesel should give, which is very good economy, obviously. They're incredibly tough and reliable. It's got a reputation for reliability absolutely unmatched by anything else in its class. With just regular maintenance, they can take absolutely huge mileages in their stride. But it's just a lovely engine to use day in, day out because it's so flexible. It's not like a lot of turbo diesels, which are just one-trick ponies. You think they've got lots of guts because they've got good initial torque. You put your foot down, off they go, but then they just die away. There's nothing left. This one has a broad spread of power, realistically, from just over 1400 RPM, where the turbo's kind of spooling up, all the way through to over 4000 RPM. Not that you'd normally drive a diesel that way, but you have the capability to do it, and the engine sounds sweet throughout. It is one of the sweetest revving diesels you'll ever use. It just doesn't have that kind of harshness that you normally associate with a diesel. You know it's diesel, obviously, but it's so much sweeter than most. Engine then feeds through clutch and into gearbox. Clutch in the car, absolutely perfect. Bite point is exactly where it's meant to be, and it's lovely and smooth and positive in actuation. Gearbox, I've said it before, I'll say it again, one of the best gearboxes you'll use in any car, actually, let alone an SUV. Some SUVs, it seems to be manufacturers' opportunity to give you a sort of long truck-like gear change. This is just brilliantly done. It's short in shift, it's crisp in action, it's got a lovely mechanical feel to it, which is ironic given the fact that it, like most gearboxes, is joined to the gearbox by cable. But what they do, and I'm changing gear for fun, is just give you this brilliant quality of actuation, absolutely superb, and that feels like it would have done when it was brand new. It just is incredibly tight. So coming to the steering of the car, as I always point out, really, the CR-V's design is to be a family car. It's not a sports car, but what it gives you is actually really good steering and chassis combination. The steering's really precise, lovely and accurate. It also tracks dead straight. There's no vibrations coming back to the steering wheel at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit, but it works brilliantly with the chassis. It's quick enough to be positive, smooth, and allow the car to flow through corners, but what it isn't is sort of slow-witted, which is what you get with so many SUVs. It's really nicely done, and that applies to the chassis as well, because again, it is ultimately a family car, so it gives you what you would hope it would give you, which is a very smooth, comfortable, beautifully damped ride. But again, unlike some who tend to go for a very soft approach, which is great for just driving a dead straight line like I am now, and they feel initially very comfortable, but when you start to go through corners, much as the ones I've got coming up, they tend to flounder and flop over and loads of body roll. This is actually quite, it doesn't look like it on the video, but quite challenging sort of long constant radius corner, and it goes into sort of a sharper one, which I'll go through at sort of slightly higher speed than I would do normally, but it just shows how the CR-Vs just flow. There's very little body motion, and that's really important for backseat passengers who might have have their face in a book or a phone or something, and they're not necessarily concentrating on the road, and it can lead to sort of car sickness very easily indeed, but not so much with the CR-Vs. They're very well controlled. What I'm also looking for on road test is any noises coming from underneath the suspension that shouldn't be there, and there's nothing at all, exactly as it should be. I'm going to give the brakes a bit of a shove and make sure no one's directly behind me. That's a good solid brake pedal on the car. Again, I'm just looking for sort of any sort of vibrations or pulsing through the brake pedal, and there's nothing. It's all exactly as it should be. Worth pointing out, the car, hopefully today or tomorrow, will be going off for a brand new MOT, and it's done independently of us, so we've got no input into it at all. Coming to the interior of the car, first things first, as always with Honda, absolutely beautifully put together cars. 78,000 miles on the clock, you'd excuse it a few rattles and creaks, and it's going to disappoint you because there aren't any, as is often the case with this generation CR-V. They are just so beautifully put together. It's also a lovely place to sit and operate a car. Dashboard is really simple and easy to use, although very well equipped. Sat nav, as you can see there, working exactly as it should. You've got a dual zone climate control system, so you can have different temperatures side to side. Again, working perfectly with ice cold air coming out of the vents. So all absolutely spot on. What you can't really tell though is just there's only little things, but it's what Honda do so well. The switchgear's got this lovely damped quality of actuation. They do these things absolutely brilliantly. It's underplayed, but these switches tend to feel like this in 20 years time. They just keep working beautifully well. Dashboard in front is simplicity itself. It's just simple, legible, easy to take the information in. Temperature gauge now running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda car, whether it be petrol, diesel or otherwise. Steering wheel, I've always loved on these because it's kind of small in diameter. It's nice, it feels nice to hand, and it also is in lovely condition. It shows no sort of wear on the steering wheel at all, no sort of ring marks or sort of grubbiness to it at all. I'm just going to let this tractor go by because he's going to win the argument with me. This is also, by the way, a four-wheel drive car. The absence of a four-wheel drive button gives a clue to how it works, because basically you don't do anything. Honda worked out, what lovely colours, by the way, absolutely stunning. But it's got the way it works is basically it'll kick in should you start to lose grip. So basically, if the front wheels, because it runs in front wheel drive most of the time, lose grip, it automatically introduces the rear wheels to give you four-wheel drive. It's just utterly seamless in operation and bulletproof as well. Absolutely amazing. But as I said at the start of the video, it's brief, only to show the car in operation. It drives absolutely perfectly. As always though, if you've got any questions about it, don't hesitate, do give us a call.